everyone.
Hi.
So we are talking about this week compassion. And last video we said that compassion is loving God and loving others. Right?
Yeah, we did.
So Tina, I'm going to ask you a question to start off this video.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of you don't know somebody until you're walking a mile in their shoes?
Yes.
Yes. What do you think that means?
I think that means that you don't know somebody until you realize until you can identify what their situation is or know who they are.
Right. Exactly.
Or you can be them.
Exactly. That's exactly what that means. And you really don't know somebody until you really go through what they experience and all the things that they go through. And some of their challenges, some of their problems, some of their issues, and even some of their joys and things like that until you walk a mile in their shoes. You get to know them.
Right. Got it.
So I have something here that can kind of illustrate this. And what is this?
First aid kit.
It's a first aid kit. This is the first aid kit we use in Enlightening Kids.
And Enlightening.
Yes. And every time I think of compassion and people who show compassion, I think of people giving first aid or a medical profession. So we have some certain things to help people when they have need. Like there's that's in this first aid kit. We have bandages.
Bandage.
That's like sterile bandages. We have several varieties in here. And we have
it's freeze spray.
Oh, freeze spray.
It's pain spray.
Yeah,
freeze
like
spray.
for maybe a burn, I think.
No, it's for
muscle
injuries. It's for muscle
spasms.
spasms.
And then this is a blanket, an emergency blanket. And we have several other things in here, some ointments and things. So the first aid kit is to give medical help to somebody who has need for it, where you have compassion to heal them.
Yeah.
So I always think of compassion with first aid.
Right.
And there are a lot of people that give compassion, like for instance, medical people, and emergency workers, care workers, care people for like elderly, handicapped people, physically and mentally challenged people. Those are care workers.
Right.
Social counselors for people with mental and emotional issues. All these people are dedicated to show compassion, and they may know what it's like to walk in somebody's shoes.
They
because
might,
they may have been trained.
Absolutely.
And
or may have gone through it.
And may have gone through it themselves.
Yeah.
It's like they were giving first aid to people who need it. So if you think about their training and what they went through and things, they may have done that. So that's the first thing I think of when I say compassion. I think of first aid for people. So Tina, Jesus was aware of walking in our shoes, and the people he saw every day, he showed compassion to. And as he saw his Father doing it, he did it. And he demonstrated, I think, his greatest compassion by becoming like all of us. He faced the same sufferings, the same challenges, the same problems and experiences, the same joys and sadness and things like that. He became like all of us. And he faced these things not only today, what we face, but all throughout the ages. And in the Bible, in the book of Hebrews, it says this: "So then, since we have a great high priest who has entered heaven, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to what we believe. This high priest of ours understands our weaknesses, for he faced all the same testings we do. Yet he did not sin. So let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. There we will receive his mercy, and we will find grace to help us when we need it most." Don't you love that?
Oh yeah, it's great.
So what are some of the things when Jesus showed compassion, great compassion?
Well, we talked about it in the first video.
Yeah, we did.
Right? We talked about a couple. The feeding of the 5,000.
Oh, yeah.
When he healed the man with the shriveled hand. When he healed the man born blind.
Oh, some of his stories, like the parable of the Good Samaritan.
Yeah.
I love that one.
That's
a
too.
great example of God's compassion and what he did.
The prodigal son.
The prodigal son.
That we did last week or the week before, something like that.
One of the past videos. Yeah. So those are great examples, and there are examples we can use today.
Sure.
Perfect. So we're going to play a game.
I feel like this is not really a game.
This is a game you can do. You can do it in different variations, but I got some painter's tape, masking tape, that type thing. And I'm going to ask you, and this goes along with our video today, I'm going to ask you, or I'm going to ask if I can bound up one of your hands, and it has to be your most dominant hand, the one you use the most, like you're right-handed or left-handed. So which one?
I'm right-handed.
You're right-handed. So I'm going to take this tape, all right, and make it like a fist like this.
Is this gonna rip my skin off?
No, it's not going to. That's why it's painter's tape, okay? All right, don't use anything other than
Like,
painter's
look,
tape.
don't try this at home
It won't
unless
hurt
your
you.
parents are okay with it.
Yeah, so yeah, do this with your parents. So I'm going to bind it up, and it will kind of limit the use of your tape. And I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it in a way that maybe, and I know you can break free from this, so that's why it's pretty safe to use. All right, and I'm going to ask you, let me get your thumb. I'm going to ask you to do some certain things. I'm going to do it to myself too, so you're not the only one doing it, okay?
How are you gonna do it to yourself?
I don't know. That's going to be,
Hi.
I have to be this way. So what I'm going to ask you to do is you're going to do tasks. There we go. I'll
He's
just do
got it.
quickly
He's
to myself.
got it.
There we go. Okay.
Is my
we
thumb
go.
supposed to be turning purple?
No, please don't do this so that way. Do it
My
right-
thumb's fine. I'm just
All
teasing.
right.
My thumb's fine.
So right now we're limited in our use in our most dominant hand. So I'm going to ask you to do some certain things
Oh, dear.
that you normally do in your dominant hand.
Oh,
so I have a little tray here and 2 pieces of paper. Would you like the red or the blue
I would like
marker?
the red marker, please.
All right. Okay. So
That's this one.
the red marker. Okay. And I would like for you to write your name with your other hand. Okay? So, which is very tough. Some of us may have done this. So if you're right-handed, you would write with your left hand. If you're left-handed, you write with the right.
Do you want me to print it or cursive it?
Print it. Here we go. So I'm gonna try.
I'm not even sure.
Oh,
I
and
can.
do your formal name.
Oh, that's
Christina.
mean.
I'm gonna do Michael.
Mine's longer than yours.
This is harder than I think. Okay, I'm done. I can't. There. Okay.
It looks like when I first started to write.
All right.
His
so
is better than mine, guys. His
that's
is
a
better
little
than mine.
hard, especially if your hand is immobilized stuff and it's not really very. Try that. And actually, I've done something like this. Have you ever done this and try brushing your teeth with your other hand?
No.
Yeah. It makes a mess all over the bathroom. I've tried that once just for fun, and you're like this, and you're like, oh my goodness. So imagine we're going to be doing a video about the man with the shriveled hand, and that's why we did this.
Okay.
And imagine you are like that man that Jesus helped so long ago.
Cool. Be back in a minute, guys.
Yep. Jesus went into the synagogue again and noticed a man with a deformed hand. Since it was the Sabbath, Jesus' enemies watched him closely. If he healed the man's hand, they planned to accuse him of working on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the deformed hand, "Come and stand in front of everyone." Then he turned to his critics and asked, "Does the law permit good deeds on the Sabbath, or is it a day for doing evil? Is this a day to save life or to destroy it?" But they wouldn't answer him. He looked around at them angrily and was deeply saddened by their hard hearts. Then he said to the man, "Hold out your hand." So the man held out his hand, and it was restored. At once the Pharisees went away and met with supporters of Herod to plot to kill Jesus. So wasn't that a really great video?
Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah, so Jesus showed compassion on a man with the shriveled hand at the great risk to himself. He knew the leaders would be offended, but he did what God showed him to do anyways. He had no thought for his own safety in this whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So compassion, whenever we show it, is an act of sacrifice of yourself.
Yeah. That's a good
Jesus
point.
did the greatest sacrifice of all when he gave his life for a sinful world. People who show compassion sacrifice their needs, their reputation, their desires, and sometimes their own safety and health.
That's true.
To meet the needs of others.
We've seen that now, though, even with the COVID. COVID crisis.
Yeah.
We've seen that with all the NHS workers, the police, the ambulance workers,
And
all of the
medical
care
people, yeah,
workers.
all,
They've
yes.
taken no account to their own safety, but they've helped others. They've
Yeah.
shown compassion for others.
That is compassion.
Yeah.
So compassion compassion is sacrifice of yourself, just like God gave up his only son.
Right.
And so how would you show God's compassion to around you, even to your own family? What would you sacrifice to show compassion to another person?
That's good. That's a good question.
So I'm going to tell you something. I've been walking around in somebody else's shoes, and that's going to be our challenge. Try walking around in somebody else's
not
shoes.
physically. You don't
Not
have
physically.
to physically do it. Try to
just say,
understand
who
where
they
other
are,
people are coming from.
just like Jesus did.
why people act the way they do.
So I've been walking around in somebody else's
Oh,
shoes
dear.
all day.
Oh,
Do you want to see them?
I would love to.
I love my clown shoes.
It's the clown shoes.
I love my clown shoes.
All right.
So this is what it's like to walk around in clown shoes. Ha 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 ha.
All right. All right, guys. Compassion video 2. Be on the lookout for the 3rd video coming out in a couple of days. And I am going to
Sorry.
take Mike's shoes away from me now. See you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.